My hair is so blue. I love it. Hello there everyone, my name is Rosemonkey and today we're going to do a personality test because my computer is being stupid and won't let me record a game. So I'm going to have to fill the channel with random other things until I get it fixed. So in the meantime we're going to do the Enneagram test, which splits people into 9 personality types, and we're going to find out which one of those I am. So I'm going to take this free test because I am a sellout and won't pay for the paid one. So let's get started. Honestly grade each statement yes for yes, this is really me, partly for this is partly how I am, and no for this is probably not how I am. If you don't know whether it applies, it's usually best to check no. I tend to trust most people. Yes, unless they give me a reason not to. I start with trust and I end with stabbing them in the face. I don't know. Success, prestige and recognition really matter to me. I'd say no. Probably not. I love to take care of people and I'm good at it. Partly. I do like to take care of people. I wouldn't say I'm good at it. I really want to win the approval of those in authority, sometimes even when I don't really like them. Sort of, partly. Because I don't want people in authority to like me. I mean, like teachers and bosses, they don't have to like me, but I kind of want them to not dislike me and kind of accept me and be like, oh, she's alright. You know, that's what I want, that sort of level. I don't get depressed easily, if at all. Partly, I sometimes do, but I think I'm quite good at combating that to some extent. I'm too strict with myself and others. No. More sensitive than most people? Say, yeah, maybe. Often refrain from acting as I'm afraid of being overwhelmed. I'm going to go with partly on that one. Sometimes, yeah, I want to do something, but I think doing it might be a bit much. So yeah, I think that's what that means. So we'll go with that. Plan the next adventure before the current one is finished. Oh yes, I'm very bad at finishing things before I start new things. That's a definite yes. It is important to me that I be admired by others, and many people do admire me. No. Domineering? No. Close relationship, I give more than I take. Maybe partly. Skeptical, suspicious and doubtful? Partly. Always aware of what needs to be corrected. A little bit too much sometimes, but I'll go with partly. Hard for me to put my feelings aside? Partly, but not exclusively. I've got a really good example for this actually. Yesterday I was at work and I'm not going to reveal any details whatsoever. All I will say is during one of the calls somebody said something extremely personal and offensive to me, and I was able to continue the call, complete what needed to be completed, and generally just deal with the situation. I didn't immediately remove myself from the call. I didn't remove myself from my seat. I continued to take a few calls afterwards. When I later went to the bathroom, I didn't get upset or break down. I handled it, I think, pretty well, but I didn't not feel about it. I was quite upset inside about it. I didn't get upset on the outside, but it was there. It was there. So I'd say it's hard for me to completely put it aside and be like, I'm ignoring that. But like, it did affect me. I did really struggle to get through the rest of the shift in general, but I could get through the shift. So it's got to be partly at least. I'm uncomfortable when people want an emotional response from me. Why would, what? I'd say partly. Why would somebody come to me and want an emotional response? But I suppose I can give them. If somebody tells me something has happened, I'm not dispassionate, I care. So there's that. Don't see much point in wallowing in negative emotions. When I begin to feel anxious, I tend to throw myself into distracting activities. Partly, I do see a point in feeling negative emotions, but I don't wallow. I'd say give yourself time to have that negativity, give yourself time to feel that negative energy, but then get to a point where that's enough and you push it to one side and that's enough, you know? Probably use a little more ambition. Yes. I could be more ambitious. That would help, I think, sometimes. Better or worse, compare myself to others to assess how I'm doing. Sometimes. Because I think, like at work, again, we'll go back to work, sometimes there are people who have worse targets than me, like hitting the targets, and that makes me feel like I'm in the middle of the pack, not the bottom. And if you're not at the bottom, you're not at risk of being fired. So I do, yeah, fair enough. If somebody's there still working and they're worse than me, that means I'm not going to get fired for being rubbish. So, sort of. I do keep that awareness that if somebody is performing worse than I am, then at least I'm not the worst person, and that means I'm at least safe. So in that respect, yes. Your happiness and feelings are your responsibility, not mine. Partly, but not exclusively. Because I don't think people should come to me looking for me to bring them happiness. I'm very firm on that. I should not be the source of someone else's happiness. But I'm also not, I should not be the source of someone else's unhappiness. And if I make someone unhappy, I need to fix that. I need to sort that. I don't like that. So, true romantic, I'd say yes. Personal relationships are by far the most the most important thing in my life. I'd say partly. It's quite high. It's quite high up there. Even though it's frequently irrational, I sometimes worry whether people are talking about me behind my back. No, I don't worry about it. People sometimes do, but it doesn't worry me, even if I know they're doing it, so I don't really worry about it. It's not an irrational panic that I have. Easy for me to accept other people and they seem comfortable around me because I don't judge them. Definitely. Click it. Quite individualistic. Blue hair, blue hair. Quite unobtrusive and easy to get along with. Yep, definitely. More formal? No, again, blue hair. Don't like commitment? Don't mind commitment. More temperamental than most? Not really. Tuned to anything that might be dangerous? I'd say partly. Yeah, partly. I think that's self-preservation, that's safe. I'm meticulous and fastidious. Fastidious? Yes. Even about details that people find like partly. Sometimes. Spelling. If I get, if someone writes something and it's horrendously badly spelt and horrendously badly, punctuated, I can just kind of go, okay, that's just a lost cause. We'll just read it as it is, read what it's meant to be, and just be like, okay, fair enough. But if it's mostly really well written, but there's a few punctuation and spelling errors, I cannot cope. So, yeah, I think sometimes I struggle a bit with that. When making a decision, I often ask myself, which option will yield the maximum enjoyment? I guess partly. People should do that generally, but not... I might ask myself that and be aware of it, but I don't just make a decision based on that. That's not the be-all and end-all. See life as a struggle that I intend to win? Not really. How do you win at life? It's strange, but I think there's something beautiful about sadness sometimes. I think sadness should be appreciated and given its own space. I think that you can't have the good without the bad. You need both to yin and yang and all that kind of bananas. No one would ever call me selfish. So people have. Not very often, but people have. I hold a tight rein on my temper. Yep, not really a temper person. It's really hard for me to save money. Yep. Welcome a good fight as it clears the air. Yes. Actually, yes. I'd say partly because I don't think it should happen all the time, but sometimes a good fight is necessary to clear the air. I'm a big procrastinator. Oh, yes. It knows me. The quiz knows me now. Look at this. I don't tend to overcommit myself. I have a limited amount of time and energy. Yes. I don't overstretch. The questions are getting smaller. Is it cutting out questions when it knows that there's no point in asking me? If something doesn't go my way, I can find something beneficial about it. Yeah. I'm more sentimental than others. Yeah. I want to be noticed, but it makes me feel uncomfortable. I wouldn't say it makes me feel that uncomfortable. I don't say I desperately want to be noticed, but a little bit of both. I almost never lose control. Most of the time, yeah. I think it's weak to back down from confrontation. No. There's some, especially verbal confrontation, because sometimes you get one person who has very strong beliefs and they are in an immovable wall. And if you get into a debate with them, there's no point, because they are an immovable wall. So back away, let them have their wall, you go and find other people who you can actually have a conversation with. Because, no. Usually I just focus on the positive sides of people, as focusing on negative traits or events does not help making relationships more harmonious. Harmonious? That's a problem word. I'd say I partly agree with that, because I usually do focus more on the positive sides, but I try to be aware of negative traits because I am quite self-confident in the sense of I have a strong sense of self. But I think sometimes when I have a disagreement with another person, I defer to them being right. And I need to remind myself that they're only human and it's not all my fault. And I need to try and focus on that humanism of them. Otherwise, I'm like, I assume it's my fault. I assume it's my fault way too easily. And that can get me into trouble. So I'd say partly on that one. Because I think harmonious relationships are good. That's a good thing. But you need to be aware of yourself and protective of yourself as well. I accumulate lots of knowledge to counteract my lack of self-confidence. Definitely not. I don't have a lack of self-confidence that needs knowledge to overcome it. That's definitely not a thing that's me. Pretty tough. I'm going to go with partly, because if I get in a physical fight, I will be down like a sack of potatoes, as somebody once told me, and they're not wrong. But Emotionally, I think I'm pretty strong, and mentally, I think I'm getting there. So yeah, I'd say I'm kind of a tough cookie. I can deal with life. Sometimes I don't know what I'm feeling until I've had a chance to think about it. Yes, 100% yes. The aesthetics of my surroundings have a strong influence. It's a somewhat strong influence. I have been told I am a perfectionist. No. Really good with big picture, but I don't have much patience with detail work. 50-50. I'm good at the big picture, but I do have patience for detail work. So it's 50-50. Secretly fear deprivation and being without nicer things in life. Secretly fear it? No. I mean, everybody probably has a little, like, they wouldn't like it, it'll be bad, but I don't fear it. It's not like a paranoia that I have. When I really get involved in an intellectual problem that stimulates me, I tend to detach from my emotions. Maybe a bit, I guess. My life has been permeated by a sense of longing. No. I see all points of view when there is a dispute, so it's hard for me to take a side. Yep. I have strong physical appetites. Strong physical appetites. What does that mean? I'm going to say no because I don't know what that means. Okay, so type 9, the peacemaker. Keeping peace and harmony. People of this personality type essentially feel a need for peace and harmony. Really? They tend to avoid conflicts at all costs, whether it be internal or interpersonal. I wouldn't say at all costs, but for the most part. As the potential for conflict in life is virtually ubiquitous, a word I can't say. The 9's desire to avoid it generally results in some degree of withdrawal from life, and many 9's are in fact introverted. Ooh, I'm an introvert. Other 9's lead more active social lives, but nevertheless remain to some degree checked out, or not fully involved, as if to insulate themselves from the threats to their peace of mind. Most 9's are fairly easygoing. They adopt a strategy of going with the flow. They're generally reliable, sturdy, self-effacing, tolerant, and likeable individuals. See, I'm not that reliable, or that sturdy, or that self-effacing. I'm quite tolerant, but I suppose a little of those things. 9's tend to adopt an optimistic approach to life. They are, for the most part, trusting people who see the best in others. They frequently have a deep-seated faith that things will somehow work out. They desire to feel connected, both to other people and the world at large. They frequently feel most at home in nature and generally make warm and attentive parents. How do you know? How do you know what kind of parent I'll be? The 9's inability to tolerate conflict sometimes translates into an overall conservative approach to change. Change can provoke unpleasant feelings and disrupt the 9's desire for comfort. Well, I can deal with change a little bit. Less healthy 9's seem incapable of motivating themselves to move into action and bring about effective change. When change does come, however, as it generally will, 9's find that they are usually well able to adapt. Yay, I can adapt to change! They tend to be more resilient than they give themselves credit for. In fact, 9's tend not to give themselves enough credit in general, and their self-effacing attitude often seems to invite others to take them for granted or to overlook their often significant contributions. I think I was more like this in the past, but I think I've got better. I think I've got a lot better. This can cause a subterranean anger to build inside the 9's psyche, which can erupt into consciousness in occasional fits of temper, which quickly blow over, but which more often manifest itself in passive-aggressive foot-dragging. Being overlooked is often a source of deep sadness in 9's, a sadness that they scarcely ever give voice to. I wouldn't say I'm sad about it. I don't feel sad about it. Sad isn't the right word. Maybe a bit niggled. Sometimes it's like, it'd be nice if you noticed, but not like a massive deal. I don't know. 9's frequently mistype themselves as they have a rather diffuse sense of their own identities. This is exacerbated by the fact that 9's often merge with their loved ones and through a process of identification take on the characteristics of those closest to them. Female 9's are frequently mistyped as 2's, especially if they are the mothers of small children. 9's, however, are self-effacing, whereas 2's are quite aware of their own self-worth. I'm a little bit aware of my own self-worth. 9's also mistake themselves for 4's, but 9's tend to avoid negative emotions, whereas 4's often exacerbate them. Definitely not that. Intellectual 9's, especially males, frequently mistype as 5's, but 5's are intellectually conscientious, whereas 9's are conciliatory and conflict avoidant. So 5's are smart but argumentative, 4's are very argumentative, and 2's are more aware of their own self-worth. What's a 2 like? I've just seen one phrase in The Helper, and I know that this is not me. Their love is not entirely without ulterior motive. Of course my love is without ulterior motive. That's totally not me. So I am definitely a 9. Alright, that was different, but fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give that like button some love. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Let me know in the comments below what type you are. I will leave a link to it in the description below. And I'll be back with more random stuff like this very, very soon. And hopefully more games when I figured out how to fix my computer. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye!